Jenner here. Obviously, she just spoke on Centre Stage, and feedback has been brilliant. So, just to give you a quick intro, Caitlyn Jenner captured global attention in April 2015 when she revealed to the world that she is a transgender woman. Caitlyn first told her story during an ABC News 2020 special interview with Diane Sawyer. The 2-hour primetime show was a rating smash, drawing 17 million total viewers, the highest for the show in 15 years. In 1976, Jenner represented the United States and broke world record by scoring 8,634 points in the decathlon at the Olympic Games in Montreal, earning the title of the world's greatest athlete. Caitlyn is no stranger to media attention or high achievement. For years, she was perhaps best known for her part on E! Network's Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the highest rated series in the network's history, documenting the daily lives of the Kardashian-Jenner family. Currently, Caitlyn can be seen on her new E! Network show. She is also the author of the 2017 memoir, The Secrets of My Life. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Caitlyn Jenner.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here. I'm going to back up just a little bit because that sun is kind of right in my eyes. How are you doing today? Great. How are we going to work the questions? Oh, right here? Okay, you got the first question? Okay,
Hello.
go.
Hello, my name is Martha.
First of all, nothing too personal. Even with all this makeup, I still blush. Okay,
good to know.
Nothing too personal. Yes.
My name is Martha. I work for the Portuguese LGBT organization.
Right.
And right now in Portugal, we're discussing the amendment of the legal gender recognition law, which serves the purpose for trans people to be able to change their name and sex on the civil registry. And up for discussion in Parliament is now the possibility to lower the age from 18 to 16. So this will be huge for children and young adults.
I totally agree.
And I just would like for you to give a message to our Parliament and to show how important it is for gender identity to be legally recognized. So
okay. That's it. Next. Did everybody hear the question? Okay. Even in the United States, we still have issues there. Right now, there's, I think, only 18 states where you can get all your identification changed all the way down to your birth certificate, okay? And 32 states you can't. You may be able to get your driver's license, you may be able to get, your passport, get the right, but you can't get your birth certificate changed. That's wrong. People have to realize, first of all, there are trans people in the world. It's part of humanity, okay? We have to treat them with respect. And it's so important to get proper identification. To get a job, to get a driver's license, you have to be able to live your life authentically, okay? It's tough enough to go through transition. And it's even tougher sometimes to get all the documentation changed. I was fortunate. I was able to go all the way down because I was born in New York State, Mount Kisco, New York, that I was able to go all the way down to my birth certificate. I do want to say this one thing. Because I remember when my driver's license came through. It was the first thing that I saw with Caitlyn Marie Jenner on it. And my picture. To be honest with you, I cried. Bruce was a good person, and I kept thinking, does he deserve this just kind of being thrown out the door? I lived 65 years as Bruce. Bruce did a lot of things, raised a wonderful family, raised wonderful children, won the games, did a lot of good, positive stuff, morally a good character. Did he deserve just to be kind of thrown out like that? So for me, when I changed my name, it was pretty tough on me, I wasn't young. I had carried that name for so many years. So it was kind of an interesting experience to go through. But I hope everything works out and you're able to get all of these things through, because proper identification and recognition by the government and the state and everything is extremely important, just for jobs and everything else that you're going to be getting on down the line. So good luck with that. Ah, right there.
Here. Hi. So this question is from my mom.
Your mom?
Yeah, she loves seeing your show. So she's a teacher here in Portugal,
Right?
from high school. And her question is, how can she help as a teacher for young kids that are still defining their gender? How do you think that she can help or to make a difference? Thank you.
Well, I'm so happy that your mom is kind and sensitive enough to think of that. That's extremely important. Like I said earlier, there are trans people everywhere. They're in school. Because of a lot of the things that have happened over the last few years, a lot of kids are identifying at a lot younger age. The biggest change, and it wasn't me going out there, I mean, that had something to do with it, but the internet changed everything. When I was really struggling back in the 80s, there was no internet, there was no way to find information. I was isolated in my house. I couldn't even find a therapist. I couldn't get any information on being trans. Today, that's different. People are identifying as trans at a much younger age. And that's a good thing. I would say to your mother, love them all, baby. Just love them all. Love all the kids. We have diversity in the world. There's just no way. I can just look out here. We have diversity in the color of our skin. We have diversity in religion. We have some people taller than others and other people shorter. Everybody's a little different, but everybody brings something to the table to make this world a better place. And especially for young, struggling kids who are dealing with their identity, just love them, support them. Create in her classroom a safe place to be and a loving place. The most important thing. Yes. We have where are you?
Oh, hi, over here. Okay, me? Yeah. So, hi, I was listening to your
there you are.
Yeah, over here.
Yay, I found you.
I was listening to your speech inside, and one thing that really blew me away was the 4 keys to success, the gamble,
cheat, lie, and steal. Yeah.
I just wanted to speak about lie, because you said lie to those you love. I just don't know how to do that, though, because I strongly believe that lying might get you in a place that you can't get yourself out of, and why do that with people you love? No,
I have been very blessed to have a lot of people around me that love me. Every situation isn't like that. I get that, okay? And it's a struggle. But like I also say, surround yourself with positive people. It's your job to go out and find the people that will love you and will give you a hug and will listen to whatever you're dealing with. That's your job. Sometimes it isn't the family. Sometimes the family's too close. We have a big problem with young trans people getting kicked out of their home. It happens all the time. To me, as a parent, I can't ever see kicking my child out of the house. You know, I'll go fight for that child, whatever their issues and whatever they're dealing with, I'll go fight for them. But I'm not going to kick them out of my house. I want a safe place for that. But that's not everybody. And I see it all the time, especially that's why we have so much homelessness in the trans community. That's why we have so much sex work in the trans community. People don't realize that it's like 25% of all, prostitution is transgendered people. And that's why our HIV rate is so high, and the list goes on and on and on. And most of that comes from these people not being in a place where they're loved and where they feel safe. And if it's not in your home, you got to find it somewhere. Find it where you can be safe. Yes.
Hi,
right here.
Hi, how are you? My name is Dulce, and I'm from Lisbon. I have a footwear brand. So it's like more a fashionable question that I have for you. I do mainly comfy high heels, and I just noticed, I couldn't help notice that you came on the sneakers and then you changed for your high heels. Do you know, can you tell me, like, for a transgender community, is it easy or not to find brands that will cater for your kind of, numbers? Because for the transgender, usually it's bigger numbers, like bigger foot numbers, and also, so.
Oh boy, let me tell you. First of all, this process is not easy. Okay, foot numbers. 13 wide, baby. You can't shop off the rack, okay? But you have to find, Zappos actually has a lot of shoes. In my case, I'm very lucky to be able to have a job, and I got a company that actually did a form fit of my foot, and they actually hand make the shoes for me. I'm very blessed to have that. There is all sorts of reasons not being able to transition. I'm too tall, okay? Well, put it this way. I always thought I was too tall. I've always been 6'2". And about 9 months ago, just turned 68. 9 months ago, I went to get a physical, and the lady goes, "You're 6'1". And I go, "No, I'm not. I'm not. I've been 6'2" all my life." She goes, "No, you're 6'1". And I said, "Remeasure me." So, of course, I get up against the wall and remeasure. 6'1". I'm thinking, this is perfect. 1, I can go another inch higher on the heel, okay? 2, at the age of about 90, I'll be a perfect 5'10", So I'm thinking, okay, maybe we're going the right direction on the height thing. I can't do it because my voice sucks. For the longest time I would travel around and I would sneak around and I would cross-dress a lot if I'm on the road, because I wasn't really wanting or really able to do it in my house for the last 20 years. And so I would go on the road or go to Vegas and do my thing. But I never, ever once talked to anybody. I kept my mouth shut and just walked around, or I drove around. The reason I didn't, because my voice is horrible, okay? And so I can't do it because of my voice. Well, there's things you can do for your voice. You can have voice surgery. You can do all that sort of stuff. And then I just got to the point, why? It's my voice, okay? It's deep and it's kind of raspy, but it's my voice. And now I'm fine. I really don't care. Sometimes when I watch it on TV, I go, "Oh my God, my voice just sucks," And especially like when I start giving a speech, I kind of get into the old Bruce, and so I can't do it because of that. You just have to do it. I'm fortunate to be in a position where I could have a few. Okay, I know you're all going to be shocked, but I had a little work done. Okay? I know. Don't tell anybody, okay? This is our secret. And fortunately, I'm in a position to be able to do that. I get that, and a lot of people can't. I actually got in trouble. Now, I've been out for 2.5 years, and I had a lot to learn. I never met anybody who was trans until I came out. Well, at least that I knew was trans. I found out one of the guys that work on the show, nobody ever told me he was trans, but then they said, "Well, what do you mean you never met anybody? What about Tyler?" I said, "Well, what about Tyler?" "Well, he's trans." Nobody ever told me, okay? So, yeah, I didn't know, but, so I had a lot to learn about the community, about things that are going on, and I've just, like I said in there, I've just met some of the most wonderful people, and you just have to do the best you can, True. Sure. You just give it to Kip. Back here. Oh, we take care of everybody, even if you're backstage. Okay, go for it, babe.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I'm a huge fan, obviously. I was just wondering if you transitioned when you were younger, would you still enter the Olympics, and would you still do it all?
Okay. Actually, it's a good question. I always knew as a young person that I had issues, but I was, grew up in the 50s and 60s, and back then they didn't even have a name for it. I didn't know why I felt this way, why I was sneaking into my mom's closet or my sister's closet and feeling good if I transition or if I just cross-dress or whatever. I didn't know. And in 5th grade, in gym class, the coach had set up a bunch of chairs around the parking lot. And he took every kid and he said, "Okay, start at this line. You're going to run down there around the chairs and come back. And from the time every kid in school, it's 5th grade. Hey, I'm ready." So I put my foot on the line. I take off, came back, wound up having the fastest time in the whole school. And everybody's patting me on the back. "Wow, Bruce, I didn't know you were that fast." Well, I didn't either, but I liked the pat on the back. And I was also a dyslexic kid, and just simple things like picking words up off the piece of paper was tough for me. And so I always thought everybody else is smarter than me, a better student than me. I was always in the slower classes. I got identity issues. I got all these things going through my head, and sports came around. And I grabbed onto it. I could go on the athletic field and take a guy who was a good student, good reader and all that, clean his clock. I like this, you know? This made me feel good about myself. Everybody needs that about themselves. They need to find a place where you're good, you're better than other people, and you get a pat on the back for what you're doing. And so I never knew where I was going to take that, you know, how far I was going to go in sports. I certainly never thought I would take it as far as I did. But then all of a sudden, one day, I wasn't trying to be the best in my high school class. I was trying to be the best in the world at something. And it kept taking another level. Many years later, as I look back on my life and on my career, I have to be very thankful. One, for being trans, one, and also for being dyslexic. Why? Because when I got in sports, if I would have just been an average kid, average grades, average this, no big problem, I wouldn't have needed sports. For me, I needed sports in my soul. And I would have just kind of breezed through. But for me, as I look back on it, that's why I outworked the guys. I outtrained the guys. I had better preparation than everybody else at the games. I didn't lose a meet for 3 years leading up to the games. I knew the games would be my last meet of my life. I knew I was retiring after that, and came up with the performance of my life and broke the world record that day, and then walked away and never went back and did it again. I guarantee it was very scary, because that's where I was safe in the world, was in sport. And so, to be honest with you, now I look back on it, yeah, being trans and being what I am made me the person I am, and made me train harder and work harder, and it was more important in my soul to win than the next guy.
I just want to say I'm dedicating this to my friend's daughter. Her name is Sammy. I don't know if she's listening to me. She's in Dublin, in Ireland. I have my Irish flag with me. And I hope you can come to Dublin. I don't know if someone invited you, but it's been wonderful speeches, and I really love you. I'm really happy to be here just to say thank you, obrigada, and come to Dublin someday, because the people in Dublin would really love to see. Thank you. Beautiful.
Hey! I hope so too. I would hope that that would happen, just because as I say, trans issues, LGBT issues don't have borders. You know, it doesn't stop at the border, and you know, it's part of humanity. And actually, over the last 6 months, I've been working very closely with the UN and trying to put together some programs on equality around the world. We certainly have issues on transgender and the LGBT community in the United States, but not even close to compare to some of the issues that we have around the world. Serbia, Africa, Egypt, Russia. I mean, in Russia, I've heard, I don't know, somebody will know better than this, I've heard that if you're anywhere in the L, the G, the B, or the T, you're considered to have a mental illness, and if you have a mental illness, you cannot get a driver's license. I go, are you kidding me? I want to go over there and show them my mental illness, baby. I'm ready to go. Yes, I'm a fighter, so yeah, don't say that stuff to me, but thank you and good luck to you. Yes.
Bonjour from Montreal.
Hey, there you are. Okay, babe.
How are you?
Good.
I don't have any question. I just have a comment and
okay.
A compliment. So to get back to your question, when did I know I was a girl? I'm not trans, and I'm not.
Right, that's all right.
Born a girl, was a girl, always knew. But your message...
So simple.
So simple.
Good.
But I got other issues. But anyway, I just wanted to say that that your message and whatever you're saying actually spreads out really well and resonates really well with me and many people. And I love what you do, and bravo to you, and good that you actually found your voice and are doing what you're doing, because you do it so well.
Even though the voice is a little deep?
Don't care.
Okay, I can handle
it's
it.
Part of the
I can handle that. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Oh, right there. Wait a second, he's got a mic right there.
Yeah, but
oh my gosh.
I'm here. It's okay.
Wait a minute, pick her up. No, just kidding.
So, I want to ask that for a girl who want to act like a boy, and then she won't get much judged. People just think she's different. But for a boy who want to act like a girl, he will get judged and get despised sometime. And for me, the original issue for your struggle, for trans people's struggle, is because the sex equal rights. So I want to know, do you think like if we make a huge progress on sex equal rights, there will be less transgender and maybe you will struggle less?
You know what, that's a very interesting question. Because people will look at me and they'll go, wait a second, why did you give up kind of that masculine, take on the world, I mean, world's greatest athlete, all these titles that you won over the year, and the power that the man has, and go over to what society thinks, I don't, but society thinks as a physically weaker, emotionally weaker female. Why would you go that way? And one, it wasn't me, number one, but the issue on transgender people, it's about almost 50-50, female to male, male to female. But you never see the males. If you notice, it's mostly all trans women, okay? One, when you go that direction, you're going from what society thinks is a weak person to a much stronger male figure, but also, it's an easier transition. Testosterone is a very strong drug. You know, you work out, get muscles, you have what they call top surgery. All the time, they don't care about what's down below. They just do top surgery. You know, you grow hair, you grow a beard, you work out. The transition's very quick and they blend into society, you know, and then they just go live their lives. For male to female, it's a lot tougher. I mean, I even had a guy at the grocery store come up the other day. And I don't get too many of these, but once in a while, you get that guy who just doesn't get it. And he comes up, comes up to me in the grocery store, and I'm pushing my little cart and getting groceries. And he goes, oh my God. You know, first he called me Bruce. I deal with, okay, I can deal with it. I was Bruce for a long time. I'm not gonna go crazy on that one. And he goes, you were like my hero growing up. You know, I just idolized you as a child and everything, and now look at you. And I said, yeah, looking pretty good, huh? Don't you think? Yeah. Hey. So, and I said, no, but I said, I'm very, he goes, what should I call you? And I'm thinking, this guy's an idiot. But anyway, okay. My driver's license says Caitlyn, my birth certificate says Caitlyn, my passport, Caitlyn. I think Caitlyn would be appropriate. And his friend's right beside of him, like kicking him, says, Caitlyn, it's Caitlyn, come on. And anyway, so we had this conversation, but I think he felt the same way. Why would I leave that masculine, you know, world's greatest athlete to what society feels is a weaker position in life? Here's my position on that one. Girls, you have no idea how much power you have. I think my journey to femininity was a different journey than yours. I get that, okay? I understand that. And a lot of times I feel like I learned a lot about life in my journey to femininity. First of all, I have the ultimate double. Olympic decathlon champion, Glamorous Woman of the Year. That's a double. That's a life. But what I've learned coming the other direction and not growing up like so many women grow up thinking they're physically not as strong, emotionally not as strong. A lot of times in society, you're kind of pushed back as a second citizen and all that kind of stuff. I have always been around very strong women. I've always been with them. You know, kind of the ultimate was Chris. She was a very strong woman. And I think women underestimate themselves in the amount of power that they have in business and in life, in what they do, because they were never really taught that. They were always taught to kind of be in the background. Well, if they use their position in life and their femininity to move forward, I think the potential for women in the future in running countries and running societies and running business is only going to get better and better, as long as you believe in yourself. that you're just as capable and just as worthy as anybody else for the position. So that's kind of, I came in a different direction, but I hopefully also bring something there too.
Hello. Hi, hello, over here. Hi, I'm Giselle.
All right, last one.
Okay.
Hello, baby, you look wonderful.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm an American, hello. I'm gonna ask you a very tough question. Since I know you voted for Trump, and one American to another, from a lady to another, and as a trans woman to another, why in the world would you vote for someone who hates who we are?
You know what, and I totally agree with you, okay? I totally agree, and it's not a difficult question because I certainly have dealt with it already. I have always grown up, I'm a lot older, I've always grown up more on the conservative side. My father is a World War II veteran, landed Omaha Beach, went all the way through the war and somehow didn't get killed. He was the 5th Ranger Battalion. I always grew up in a very conservative environment, and so I've kind of been more on that side. Physical issues, I believe in things like the Constitution, and I believe in limited government. I believe in all of those types of things. So that's why I've always been more on the Republican side. As far as social issues, I'm much more liberal. As far as being able to help people out, I am all for social issues, okay? When I've never voted for a Democrat, you know? And so when this whole thing came down, first of all, as far as the Republican issue, I was going to vote for whatever candidate they came up with. I did not campaign for him. I did not talk about him. I never even brought his name up. I let it play its purpose. And he wound up being our candidate, okay? Lo and behold, I didn't vote for him to be our candidate, but he's our candidate. And of course, I'm going to vote for him, okay? So I talked to him only one time. I talked to him when he was just a candidate in the primaries. And I thought he would do better. I talked to him on the phone for like a half hour about a lot of the issues we have. And he was all on board. He actually, in 2012, Trump supported a girl named Jenna Telikova, a trans woman in Canada who was in the Miss Universe pageant. Beautiful woman. And this became a big deal. Barbara Walters is interviewing her, on and on and on, okay? And he owns the Miss Universe pageant. He supported her and said, hey, if she makes it to the finals, she is welcome, and stood up for her. And I thought, you know what, that's a good sign. He also said a few things during the campaign, or that I thought were pretty good. And so I was somewhat optimistic, okay? Somewhat optimistic. And just from my standpoint, just leave us alone. I mean, just don't do anything. And then he got in there, and I'm not making any excuses for him, but because I do a lot of political work, I go back to Washington, D.C. all the time and talk to senators and congressmen and you name it. I'm on top of everything. And unfortunately, a lot of the people within this administration have kind of got his ear, and it's a shame. But he is the man, and he's signing this stuff, and he's the one responsible, so I'm not jerking responsibility from him. When he rescinded Title IX for equality in schools for trans kids and the LGBT community, I was extraordinarily vocal, okay? When he did the same thing with the military, I was extraordinarily vocal. And then still continue to do things with the military to make sure that doesn't happen. And so constantly I'm working, trying to pick up the pieces for him and doing the best we possibly can. I apologize to the people, but as far as some other issues, physical issues, the Supreme Court, you know, there's some good things that I like, okay? But there's also, I don't know if I can campaign, I would never campaign for him if he runs again, just because he's been so bad when it comes to our issues.
Would you change your vote now, knowing that what you know now about him?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Would you change the vote back?
Oh, would I change the vote? Honestly, that's a tough question because I was not, I was just so against the other candidate with Hillary. I've never voted for a Democrat. I just saw a lot of the things she did and stuff like that. It was just a tough, she was not a good candidate. I just wasn't, from my standpoint, a conservative thinking, she just wasn't a good candidate. So it would have been tough for me to vote for her. Would I vote for Trump next time? I don't know, we got 3 years to go. Let's see what happens. There's a long way between now and then. Yeah, and then I'll make my decision at that point. I want to thank you. It was so much fun having no too personal questions. That was pretty good. You didn't see me blush, did you? Yeah, but that was great. I want to thank you so much for coming out and having an opportunity to talk to everybody. It was so much fun. And thanks for coming over and asking questions.